physical physical accident, for example, but very seldom we talk about mental health, mental illness, mental safety or psychosocial safety, and also accidents due to psychological or psychosocial factors. So it's very timely. And I think with what with the pandemic that we have faced before, I think this is a very good topic for us to discuss. And I hope you enjoy discussing about this very much. Feel free to ask any question anytime. I'm not a end of the session Q&A person, so please ask whenever you feel that you want to ask anything. But if the answers requires a lengthy kind of answer, I will postpone it. If it's just a yes, no, or one word, one sentence answer, I will answer immediately. My background, I am an organizational psychologist. I have 2 undergraduate degree. One is Islamic studies and the other one is psychology. So you will find some Islamic perspective will be embedded in my presentation, but I will also talk about other religions also, because I study comparative religions. I think that is my niche, okay, Islamic scientific psychology in organizational psychology. So are you ready? Can anybody maybe say something, name your, where you're from, what are you majoring, and anything that can help meriahkan ruangan chat, please do so. Our topic for today is mental illness in the workplace. Myths or facts? Myths or facts? Okay, by the way, that UniKL, Royal College of Medicine Perak, is on just part-time and online only. I do not go there at Ipoh. I teach from Nilai Negeri Sembilan at my home place. That helps a lot with the mental health at the workplace, right? And a lot of what do you call it, challenges also, remote working, something that you might want to ask. Okay, let's start. Mental health is no longer a private issue. It is a performance issue, a moral responsibility, and a test of leadership. While preparing for this slide, I came up with this tagline and I posted it at my social media, Facebook, I think, Instagram, X, TikTok not yet. TikTok required video, but I think I will post the poster at least, and also at the YouTube and LinkedIn. So feel free to subscribe or follow if you're interested to know more about my field. So as I mentioned, it's no longer a private issue. It is an organizational issue. Not many managers, leaders, employees realize that, except during pandemic. The problem is, after pandemic, some managers go back to their usual practice. If you agree, please say so. If you don't agree or half-half, you can also comment. Feel free to comment. I may read it, I may not read it if I don't have time, but at least your classmate can read it and benefit from your comment. So feel free to comment anytime you want. But now I want to ask you a question that require you to type at least Y or N. Y for yes, N for no. Do you believe that workplace stress is a sign of mental weakness? Please type either Y for yes or N for no. Okay, let's see some answers from Dr. Lily students. Just giving some pressure here. Remember your lecturer here watching you. Yeah, please type Y or N for yes or no. Do you believe that workplace stress is a sign of mental weakness? Yeah, please. I can only see one person, anonymous 17519, saying good morning. What about others? Can you type Y or N, yes or no? Ini tengah stres ke pagi-pagi ni? Dr. Alizi, most of you are working adults. Pagi-pagi dah stress, maybe? Can you answer? I give you a few more seconds, then I will continue. It's okay, no pressure, of course. As a psychologist, no pressure. I will not judge or why do you not answer. But if you can, if you can answer, please answer. A few seconds more. Ke saya tertinggal? Ni. Ke lambat? People still saying good morning, Prof. Boy, Dr. Lily lagi popular ni.
Yeah,
Can you answer why
I think dia macam lambat kan?
lambat? Okay, never mind. In that case, I will continue. It's okay if there's a delayed response. I may read your comments or I may not. It depends on the thing that I'm currently explaining. Okay, so feel free. When I say feel free, no pressure. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide. Now let's talk about a case study. It's half true because I cannot make it too obvious. Sometimes it may be your friend, your colleagues, for example, your relative. Hey, I know this guy, for example. So I have to change it a little bit. A high-performing employee began making careless mistakes. He avoided meetings, isolated himself, and finally took long medical leave. What shocked the team? He was diagnosed with severe depression. No one saw it coming. No one saw it coming. Now, the question is, why shocked? Is it A, but he's a high performer. How can he has depression? Or B, but he looked so happy before? Or C, but he's a religious person? What do you think? Is it A, B, or C? Is it A, B, or C? Since most probably there's a delayed response, I will not wait for your response, but please answer your question very, very quickly. Why do you think some employees, some colleagues, some co-workers were shocked by this news that this high-performing employee was diagnosed with severe depression? Tak sangka, terkejut. Yeah, what do you think? Is it A, B, or C, or any other answers that you think why is it a shock? Okay, so if you want to answer, please type at the chat box. I will read it later, or if not, then I will read it at the end of the session. Okay, I see Atira, B, Divya, B, Stephanie, A, Kylie A. Okay, that's good. Thank you so much. At least I will wait for 3. Now it's 4 already. The truth is there's no correct answer, so it depends on you. It depends on the context of each workplace. Your office may have this certain culture, certain climate, certain structure, certain policies that may leads to different perception. So yes, all 3 can be true. Because the person is high performer, how can he has depression? Because the person looks so happy, gaji besar, for example, anak comel, isteri glowing, flawless, for example, and rumah besar, but how can he not be happy? How can he be diagnosed with depression? Or he's a religious person, sembahyang 5 kali sehari, pergi gereja setiap minggu, pergi gurdwara, pergi tokong, pergi kuil, for example, and selalu buat kerja kebajikan. How can he have mental illness? That will be quite a shock. That is why some people, bosses or co-worker believe that mental illness is a myth. It's a myth. Kebanyakan orang yang ada mental illness ni sebenarnya tak ada mental illness. That is the topic, the issues that we want to discuss today. Remember, that can be very, very hurtful, yeah? You may think that if you say it for your co-worker, it's fine, but let's see. All of you, most of you are working adult, mungkin dah ada isteri, dah ada anak. What if your wife is having mental illness? Would you say, but you look so happy. I give you money. I belikan barang. I give you my credit card, for example. And you say that, but you look so happy. How can you have mental illness? Memalukan saya sebagai suami. Now, it will hurt further your wife, your spouse's feelings. It will hurt your son and your daughter's feeling. If you say, but you got straight A's at school. How can you have mental illness? Pelik tak? Now, this is very important. Sometimes we say it out of spontaneity. Hopefully, this 1 hour, we only have 1 hour to discuss, a webinar can change your perception about mental illness facts versus myths. Now, why shock? Because mental illness is invisible. You can't see it like flu, for example, or cough, or even a fever. You can see when people is having fever, yeah, their face drooping, for example. And that is why I will argue that mental illness is a fact. Mental illness is not a myth. Right? I also want to destroy that religious person, usually ustazah ke, apa nama, Sami Buddha ke, Sami Hindu ke, Padri Kristian ke, biasanya usually they are very judgmental about mental illness. They will say that this is a lack of faith, lemah iman, for example. I want to destroy that stigma also, since I'm also a graduate of an Islamic studies. So the objectives for today is to bust common myths about mental illness in the workplace. Number 2, present scientific and Islamic perspectives on mental well-being. And I won't talk much about the creed, the akidah, or the fiqh, halal haram, so that it can be beneficial for those of different religions. In terms of mental illness and mental health, we share a lot with other religions also. Okay. Number 3, share practical actions for individuals and organizations. By the way, feel free to screenshot or print screen any of my slides today, and then feel free to share at your social media. Tag myself, tag Dr. Lilis, tag SOM, tag USM, and tag any other friends that you think might benefit from your post. Okay. Issue number 1. Common myths about mental illness in the workplace. Number 1, mental illness is just an excuse to get MC. Most of you are working adults. Some of you may be diagnosed already with mental illness. How do you feel when some people say that to you when you have mental illness relapse or episode and are having MC? Have to be absent. Number 2, if your faith, if your iman is strong, you won't get depressed. And imagine if you are a mosque-going, church-going, temple-going persons, and then you were diagnosed with mental illness such as depression. How do you feel if your co-worker, your bosses say such thing? Number 3, strong people don't need therapy. And you already have the image of us very strong. You manage to bounce back better with financial burden, with physical calamity, but with mental illness, it seems that you lose, you're weak because you're diagnosed with mental illness. What is your feeling if people say such thing to you, or your spouses, or your kids, or your brothers and sisters, or your mom, or your dad? Yes, they also can be living with mental illness, and people surrounding them, orang masjid, orang surau mengata, apa ni orang kuat macam kamu, macam pakcik makcik ni tak patut pergi terapi, tak payah makan ubat. Datang masjid je, baca Quran aja, for example. What would they feel? This is a thing that we need to discuss today. Like I said, feel free to ask question, and not only ask question, feel free to comment also based on your experience or the loved one experience. Let's go through them one by one. Myth number 1, mental illness is just an excuse to get MC. The fact is, WHO data shows that 1 in 4 employees globally suffer from mental disorders every year. Now, how many of you here? 25 minus 1 minus 2, Dr. Lilis, that means around 23. 25, 24. So if it's 1 out of 4, that means 4 out of 20, perhaps. Is it? Yeah. 4 out of 20, I think. Yeah. No, 10 out of 20. Imagine if 10 of you suffer from mental disorders, either chronic or seasonal. Seasonal maybe during exam period, during audit period, during Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, Christmas period, during holiday, but mental illness nonetheless. These are clinically diagnosed condition, not just stress. Remember my first question just now? Is stress a mental illness? No, not just stress. Even burnout, which is quite severe, is not yet a mental illness. It is not considered as mental illness. Conflict at workplace, not mental illness, right? Feeling fatigue only. I wrote a book called Penat or Languishing. That is still not mental illness. I wrote a book called Jangan Ganggu Lepas Waktu Kerja Boleh, which is about burnout and work-life balance, still not about mental illness. So imagine if we include non-mental illness problem at workplace, maybe it's not 1 out of 4, maybe it's 2 or 3 in employees globally. So, so imagine how important it is to talk about mental illness at workplace. For example, an engineer takes MC after being diagnosed with GAD due to prolonged stress and overwork. This is not an excuse to avoid work, but a legitimate part of medical treatment for a mental illness. Myth number 2. If your faith is strong, you won't get depressed. Faith, the fact is, if you have faith, okay, orang Islam, iman, okay, orang agama lain, kepercayaan yang kukuh terhadap agama masing-masing, faith actually strengthens the heart. Yeah, but it doesn't make anyone immune to mental illness. So don't be surprised if a person who memorized the whole Quran, and I know a few person of my friend, of my colleague who are very religious and but still have diagnosed with mental illness. So it's not immune. It's an illness. It's not a spiritual disease. It's a mental illness. Spiritual disease tu biasanya penyakit hati is like in Christianity you have the 7 deadly sins, right? In Islam we have as-sab'ul mubiqat, again same thing, the big sins in Islam. That is spiritual disease. Things like arrogant, things like takabbur. Yeah, I think those things are spiritual illness, not mental illness. Yeah, mental illness is something which everybody can be living with. Example.
You only mention two type of illness kan, the spiritual and mental kan, because I didn't catch the word that you used before that. Only two, right? You
Yes,
just
only
mentioned
2.
two, right? Okay, all
Only
right.
2. But of course, if you want to be comprehensive, we also have physical illness, kan? Batuk, demam, or cancer. So yeah, we have physical illness, we can have mental illness, we can have spiritual illness also, or diseases. Good, thank you so much. Yeah, and for the list, feel free to budge in if you need to clarify something, or if you think that your question will help me clarify the points better for your students. Example, Ustaz Ahmad is a well-respected religious teacher. He leads congregational prayers, solat jamaah, gives weekly tazkirah, religious a reminder, and counsels others with wisdom and care, with hikmah and rahmah. But privately, he's been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Will your trust in him decrease? Aku tak percaya lah dengan ustaz ni bagi counselling kat aku. Rupanya dia pada depression. See, you cannot separate between mental illness and his spiritual high spiritual level. Remember, you can still have high spiritual level and still have mental illness. I'm sure you can see a lot of people without mental illness, perangai, dia punya roh akhlak tak apa-apa, kan? And I'm sure you will notice some people who are living with mental illness but which are very kind, very gentle, sangat berakhlak, right? So please separate between the two. Myth number 3, strong people do not need therapy. The fact is, high achievers often experience high functioning anxiety and depression. What does high functioning mean? They cannot function actually, but because they were well bred by their parents, they attended school, very good schools, right? And they may attend religious activities. It make them well trained to mask their symptom. Doesn't mean they do not have mental illness. They do. They still struggle. It's very hurtful, It's very painful to have mental illness. But outwardly, they do not show weaknesses. They perform at their school, they perform at their universities, they perform at their workplace, but they struggle inside. But they can only do so much. So once in a while, they break down. They experience what we call relapse or episode. That is when they need to they already attending therapy and prescribed with medicine, but when they have episode, they might be warded at hospital. Doctor might increase their dosage of their medicine. Clinical psychologists might change their therapy, types of therapy. That is the struggle that they are facing. So you might see them as performing and happy but they are struggling inside. So seeking help is actually strength, not weaknesses. So if you find out that they seek treatment, eat psychiatric medicine, that is actually a strength amidst stigma in the society and workplace. For example, a top performing manager who always appears composed and successful secretly battles insomnia, constant self-doubt, and panic attacks. Despite outward success, she seeks therapy to cope, proving that strength includes asking for help. Did you get the point? Okay. Yeah. Now, before I start with issue number 2, can you list down types of mental illness, just to see whether you have an idea what types of mental illness that we have. I think I've mentioned depression and also anxiety disorder. What other types of mental illness that you know of? Okay, very quickly. I know it's a delay, so in the meantime, Dr. Liz, allow me to have a few sips of drink. Okay, let me cover my face. Okay, 4 new messages. Let me see. So it's not that delayed. Oh, now I notice. Kylie answered, no, mental weakness is a common situation for everyone when met something challenging, but maybe mental weakness will be a sign of work stress. Okay, I think it's half correct. I think you should replace the word mental weakness with stress. Stress is a common situation for everyone, including me, including Dr. Lilis. It's quite common, it's normal for everyone when met something challenging. I think that it should be the other way round. Not mental weakness as a sign of work stress, but work stress may or may not lead to mental. I like to use the word mental illness. So please take care of your stress. Stress is good because stress will increase performance, but up to a certain level only. So please manage your stress because there will be a risk of mental illness. Thank you, Kylie. I pray that you I cannot give you a mark. Maybe Dr. Liz can give you +1 or +2, but may God reward you. That's all I can pray. Okay. Okay, next, Stephanie. No, workplace stress is not a sign of mental illness because stress is a normal human response to challenging situation. That's quite correct. Thank you so much. And then, okay, now, the question I asked before, what types of mental illness that you know of? Bipolar disorder, correct? Eating disorder, correct? Mood disorder is the umbrella term. Underneath it, there are many types of mood disorder. The most popular one is major depressive disorder. Very good. Anxiety disorder, also an umbrella term. You can have phobia also under anxiety disorder. GAD, we can have anxiety attack. Yes, eating disorder also is an umbrella term. We can have bulimia, you can have anorexia, PTSD. Yes, very good. But I think the one which is very popular in Hollywood is schizophrenia and also DID. Okay, if you know what DID means, what it stands for, please type at the chat box. I think many people mistaken it for split personality. No, it's not split personality. That's a wrong label. So and the older term is multiple personality disorder. But what is the new term? The new term is DID. What does DID stands for? Okay, in the meantime, let me continue with my slide. Issue number 2, biopsychosocial spiritual model. We have number 1, biological factor. Number 2, psychological factor. Number 3, social factor. And number 4, spiritual factor. Let's go through them one by one. Biological factor, it can be genetic predisposition, but remember, that does not mean you will have mental illness if your mom or dad have mental illness. It depends on, like I said, psychological factors, social factors, and also spiritual factors. If your mom or dad has mental illness, but they have good parenting style, your school has a very good teaching style, your neighborhood is good, your workplace is very mental health friendly, you might not be living with mental illness until the rest of your life. So, but some people, they don't have genetic predisposition, but they may have something else, psychological factors, social factors, and spiritual factors that trigger mental illness. So I think God is fair. Always, always take good care of your mental health. And even if you have mental illness, you can still be mentally healthy. In most of my book, I differentiate between not having mental health and having mental illness. A lot of people, I know a lot of my friends having mental illness, but is also mentally healthy. They are very happy with their life. I know a lot of my friends who do not have mental illness, but do not have mental health. They are not happy with their life. Again, I will emphasize, always emphasize this, God is fair. Thank you, Atira. Thank you, Nurul Afika. Yes, that's correct. Dissociative identity disorder. You may want to suggest a film to. I know two Korean. I'm not a fan of K-drama, but my kids are. So they suggested, Abah, can you have to watch these two drama, K-drama. If you know, you can share at the chat box. I can't say it because I don't have much time. I now have 30 minutes or less to talk about this topic. Number 2, neurotransmitter imbalance, for example, serotonin and dopamine. Again, if I give you only a very brief description, feel free to Google or ask ChatGPT and share the definition or descriptions or examples in the chat box. So learning does not come from me also, it can come from Dr. Lilis and also from you. So make this a learning friendly environment. Number 3, hormonal dysregulation, for example, cortisol from chronic stress. And number 4, chronic physical pain or illness. Chronic physical pain or illness. Dr. Lilis know that I have a chronic pain, arthritis, but because I'm a psychologist, my stress is at minimum level. I move on very quickly and I'm very happy with my life. I can tolerate my pain, but the illness is still there because it's a chronic illness. It's a degenerative disease. Unless I undergo what do you call it, pembedahan, it will be with me for the rest of my life, but I'm very happy. And I can still travel a lot delivering lecture. Okay, so yes, please share whether your mom, your dad, your uncle, your auntie, your grandpa, grandma is also having this kind of thing. Please feel free to share. Next, psychological factors. By the way, sorry, I know my pace of speech is very, very fast. Dr. Lilis know that. It's very difficult to control, but I hope you can bear with me. Number 2, psychological factors. It can come from yourself. For example, unrealistic self-demands. That's why psychologists doesn't like typical motivational style because they sometimes give you unrealistic self-demand. Too much positivity to the extent is very toxic. Yeah, psychologists does not do motivational talk. Okay, you must know that. So if you become a safety and health officer, do not use motivational style. Use evidence-based intervention. Okay, evidence-based, because you are answerable to your bosses and also to your scientific discipline and to Dr. Lilis. Number 2, cognitive. For example, negative thinking patterns. And number 3, personality. For example, neuroticism is high. The score is high. And number 4, emotion. For example, childhood trauma. Do you notice? I differentiate between self and personality. Some motivational speakers said, know yourself, kenali diri. And then they give you a personality test which is pseudo. Pseudo means palsu, false. Pseudo psychology. Again, if you are pressured by your bosses to use pseudo psychology, always refer to Dr. Lilis. Always ask ChatGPT and say, I want scientific personality test, not pseudo. Prompt, give a 2, 3, or 4 prompts question that will eventually leads you to evidence-based treatment. Okay. Hey Wenlu answered, Guo Yume answered, kill me, heal me, and hide Jekyll and me. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Good. Hey Wenlu answered, kill me, heal me, and it's okay to not be okay. I've not watched It's Okay Not to Be Okay, and I'm not sure whether it's about DID. Okay, I think my kids say it's about depression or anxiety disorder, but not about DID. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have watched it. Okay. Thank you so much for participating. I like that very much. Number 3, social factors. For example, workplace. Imagine your workplace, toxic culture, role overload, lack boundary, gaslighting. I wrote this on my new in my new book. By the way, I know it's very far from Pesta Buku Antarabangsa KL, but if you happen to be in KL, don't forget to buy my book, self-promotion, sorry, Dr. Lilis. Jangan Ganggu Lepas Waktu Kerja Boleh. It's a catchy title. It is about boundary, it is about burnout, it is about work-life balance. And it is about psychological safety, not physical safety. It is about psychological safety. Number 2, leadership. For example, your bosses practice micromanagement, favoritism, and authoritarian. I know Eastern culture, we are still, although they say, I'm very open-minded, but in actuality, they are very authoritarian. Not authoritative, that's different. Find out, please ask ChatGPT or Google the difference between authoritarian and authoritative. Authoritative is good. Authoritarian is not good. Okay, number 3, stigma. Stigma around mental health, example, by family members, by office mates, and in social media. Number 4, community, your neighborhood, your universities, your NGOs, and your house of worship. Masjid, surau, kuil, tokong, gereja, gurdwara, and others. Next, number 4, spiritual factors. Now, yes, spiritual factors, I think I want to write something maybe after this webinar. Because research has found that religion can increase mental health, but religion also can decrease mental health. That's why it's important to be scientific. Just because you're religious, and you want to promote what do you call that? Religious tazkirah or religious point, you will find that sometimes people who are religious be afflicted, I should not say afflicted, living with mental illness. And because you are having cognitive dissonance, you still say, no, Islam is good. No, Christianity is good. You are secular, scientific. For example, you are kafir, for example, if you're Muslim. Don't do that, please. Right? If you're scientific, you find out that, yes, religion can also lead to mental illness. So wait, maybe after this afternoon or tonight, I will write religious factors that increase mental illness and religious risks that decrease, that can trigger mental illness. But not in this webinar. Okay, not enough time. But here I want to talk about the factors only. Number 1, disconnection with God, for Muslim, Allah. Number 2, loss of purpose. Number 3, lack spiritual coping. And number 4, unresolved spiritual guilt. You have done something wrong, and then your priest, your religious person, religious mom or dad, make you feel guilty more. Itulah tak baca Quran, itulah tak pergi ke gereja, for example. Itulah disconnected with God, and then makes you much more worse. Okay, spiritual factors. Now let's go to issue number 3. Oh, Shi Yao said, you are my spring, 4 personae. I have to type this down because I want to watch it possibly, but I'm not sure where to get it. Tell me which streaming. I don't have Netflix. I only have Disney Hotstar Plus and also BBC iPlayer. And what's the usual one? The Unify TV. That's all. So please tell me which streaming TV that I can watch. It's okay not to be okay. You are my spring and 4 personae. Ke you guna yang illegal punya? I'm not sure. YouTube cover ke? I'm not sure. But please tell me. PM Dr. Lily, I think at least PM me, okay? Now let's talk about issue number 3. Organizational responsibilities. That is the uniqueness of organizational psychology. Most bosses, not all, whenever there's problem related to psychology, send them to motivational talk, send them to stress management seminar, send them to team building. And the team building is treat you like a child, isn't it? Apa contohnya? Abseiling, repelling, hurdle this, hurdle that, gelak-gelak, jerit-jerit, for example. Kalau malam tu kadang-kadang setengah motivator suruh nangis-nangis, for example. But it does not solve the teamwork issues. It does not measure after 2 weeks when you came back to your office whether the teamwork skill and teamwork behaviors are practiced. Now that's the difference between evidence-based intervention and just pop psychology style or worse, pseudo-psychology style. I hope you're not inclined towards pseudo. Okay, so listen to me. I'm your Jedi Master. Do not go to the dark pseudo-psychology side. Okay, so next is organizational responsibilities. Number one, build a mental health friendly culture. Number two, adopt mental health first aid, MHFA. I am trained in MHFA, so if you want, we can have another session for that, but this requires at least 4 hours. I was trained for 2 days. Yeah, for 2 days for this. And number three, leadership makes a difference. Let's go through them one by one. How do you build a mental health friendly culture? Number one, promote psychological safety. Now, this safety refers to the extent to which workers feel safe to voice out their opinion, to criticize the organization, to report negative data. And that is what psychological safety means, which is lacking in Eastern culture. Number two, encourage open conversations. Boss should not say, I'm very open, but then you show your facial expression, for example. Or you start with, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this, we should do that, and then, but I'm open lah. Okay, what about your opinion? Usually people will not say anything, right? That is not encouraging open conversation. Sometimes some lecturers are like that, isn't it? I hope myself and Dr. Liz are not like that. I'm sure Dr. Liz is not like that. But yeah, I've received some complaint at my own universities for the past 20 years. Some lecturers do not allow conversations. Sometimes even in Islamic studies, right? So they have to ask at my class, Islam and psychology class on Islamic issues. Number three, normalize checks in, not just checklist. Are you okay today? Do you need something? That is check-in, not just checklist. Are you look at the checklist and tick off on your own whether it's okay or not okay. Number two, adopt mental health first aid. Even you are not trained, at least try to watch YouTube videos on how to listen non-judgmentally, how to support appropriately, and how to refer to Dr. Lilies, how to refer to safety and health department, when to refer to HR, when to refer to psychiatrists, when to refer to clinical psychologists, when to refer to counselor, right? And even between counselor, clinical psychologists, and psychiatrists, they have different expertise. Okay, so not everything has to be referred to counselor. Sometimes go straight ahead to psychiatrist. Sometimes you just have to go straight ahead to the emergency department at the hospital. Okay, no question asked. Just bring your coworker there as soon as possible. Number three. Again, feel free to ask question if you have any question. Number three, leadership makes a difference. Leadership should model vulnerability. Do you notice that for Muslim, even in the Quran, Allah shows that some prophets are vulnerable. They encounter intense sadness, they encounter deep frustration, they encounter a high level of anger, and it's fine. They are still some of the best persons in the world. But because they show vulnerability, it's easier for us to model them because they are not angels, they are still human beings, still the best persons in the world, right? Number two, share stories. Share stories. And that's what Quran, Hadith, stories from Bhagavad Gita, stories from Upanishad, stories from Old Testament and New Testament can make a difference. And number three, show empathy. This is what I want to advocate. Many people, Muslim especially, religious Islamic cleric, or even your own religion, they fail to see there are a lot of stories in the Quran and Hadith where people show empathy before giving advice. Giving advice. People always miss that point. That is one of my advocacy. Example, a CEO openly discussed his panic attacks in a town hall meeting. Do you know what happened? It became easier for others to speak up and engagement increased. Now, that does not reduce the respect for the CEO. People respect him more. Okay? Him/her more. Okay? So that's what happened when you show your vulnerability and encourage open discussion. What do you think? You can comment. What do you think about this example? And do you think that it is your bosses or not your bosses, the culture in Malaysia is encouraging these things? Okay? Feel free to give your opinion. Now, I think, is this the last point? I think so. Issue number 4, personal awareness. Detect or identify early warning signs and then practice some prevention strategies. Let's go through them one by one. Early warning sign. If you notice your co-workers having drastic mood or behavior changes, example, previously he eat healthily, now he eat a lot and unhealthily, or he stopped eating altogether, right? If you are staying with him or her, like a bujang, for example, or your brothers, sisters, mom, dads, kids, usually they sleep regularly, but now they rarely sleep or they oversleep. So these are drastic mood or behavior, easily irritable and that kind of thing, yeah, withdrawal behavior. Next, increase absenteeism or presenteeism. Absenteeism being absent, presenteeism mean being present although sick and they do not perform. They even make it difficult for others because they are easily snappy, or you have to take over his task or job or assignment. That is presenteeism, not good. Yeah. Because the pressure to be successful, they are being present, although they're sick, either physically or mentally. And number 3, emotional numbness or overreaction. For numbness mean dah tak peduli dah apa berlaku. Bos nak marah ke, tak naik gaji ke, I don't care. Or overreaction. Overreaction. I wrote this in my book Penat, okay, which is a bestseller 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay, Penat. Still selling at Pesta Buku. So if you want to know more, you can refer to that book. What about practical prevention strategies? Number 1, rest and reflection. I like that, R&R, isn't it? Rehat dan rawat. Here is rehat dan reflect. For example, tafakur means contemplation. And Buddhism, Hinduism, Confucianism, Taoism promote a lot of meditation, right? So you can use that. In Islam, it is called tafakur. And in addition to emotional aspect, it is also cognitive. That's where the word tafakur or fikir comes in. Yeah. Or you can do journaling, writing diaries. Journaling is very healthy because if it's in your mind, it's but jumbled up. When it's journal, when it's a diary, you can see things clearly in sequence or in separate and more analytical. Number 2, strengthen coping with faith or iman. In Arab, we call it sabr, syukur, tadabbur, and tawakkul. In English and in other region, is patience, is gratitude, is reflection. Here, tadabbur is reflecting the Quran. So in your case, reflecting on your sacred books. Tawakkul means, we learned this during pandemic, right? Things that you can control, you control. Things that you do not control, just leave it. That is actually tawakkul. But if you relate it with God, now that is the real meaning of tawakkul. In Malay, we call it tawakal. Yeah, tawakal. Number 3, when to seek help. In general, if symptoms persist for more than 2 weeks and it disrupts the function of your life as a mom, as a dad, as a husband, as a wife, as a worker, as a boss, as a manager, then please seek professional help. I think I've given you a hint just now. Can you tell me only 2%? Only somebody did not mute the mic. Please check your own mic. Where was I? Please tell me that only 2 professionals who can diagnose and provide therapy on mental illness. Okay, there may be a delayed response, so please answer as quickly as possible. Who are the 2 professionals who can diagnose and treat mental illness? Okay, let me continue. I have maybe 4 to 9 minutes more before we stop. Mental illness, religious perspective. For example, in Islam, it is Allah mentioned in Al-Quran, chapter 2, verse 286. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. So, if Allah challenge you with some mental health issues, you can do self-care, you can get social support, you can get you can, even if you have mental illness, you can get support from HR. You have the capability to seek help from HR, from safety and health officer, from counselors, from psychiatrists, from clinical psychologists, from hospital, from clinic, tele-counseling, from your lecturers, from your mom and dad, from your BFF. You have the capability. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, psychiatrists and clinical psychologists. I'm glad that you don't say psychologists per se, because I myself, as an organizational psychologist, I cannot diagnose and I cannot treat mental illness. But I can prevent at organizational level. I can manage the early onset, and I can design organizational policy and intervention for workers who are living with mental illness. That's not diagnosis, that's not therapy, right? And please, I always say this, do not step on other people's expertise. Tak payahlah jadi certified therapist ke, certified personality test ke, by attending 3 hour or 3 days pseudo psychology training. Kalau nak jadi medical doctor and then specialize in psychiatry, studies bachelor psychology and then master in clinical psychology, right? You can still apply psychology. Dr. Lilis applied engineering psychology in her field on traffic behavior. That does not mean Dr. Lilis is a psychologist, right? But she's an expert, much more expert than me in traffic psychology, right? So please remember, applying psychology is different from offering professional help, professional intervention. So sorry about that. Buddhism, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So if you want to know more, ask ChatGPT. I'll just read the quotation. Confucius, when the heart is correct, the mind will be at ease. Hinduism, when the mind becomes still, the self reveals itself. Sikhism, speak sweet words and remove the anxiety of others. I like this because now it's about others, your co-workers, your colleagues. Christianity, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Okay, so that's it. So I opened for any questions. This is Q&A question. If you have any question, please ask. If you have any comment, also please comment. I would love to hear from you. So back to Dr. Lilis, but I still have more. I will ask you for some learning point later as a closure. So now question and answer. Back to Dr. Lilis.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, we have about 10 minutes. So how about it? Okay, so how about it? Any question from the floor?
I think they are taking their breath after the bullet train webinar. So sorry about that. That is very difficult to change, I know.
Yes.
That's why I like to read my slide. It prevents me from speaking very quickly. And that's why, Dr. Liz knows this, I like to speak with British accent. Bottle of water. But not Cockney.
So you can pace out.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's a good.
But when I'm explaining, I tend to speak very fast. That one I cannot help. Yeah, but the proper English, bottle of water, not Cockney, bottle of water, no, not that kind of English. That one lagi laju kalau saya guna Cockney. Dr. Liz is a what? Mancunian, yeah? Manchester accent maybe.
Tak ada lah. I'm pure Malaysian. I don't pick up accent.
Penang English.
But then when you are in, I mean, you can join lah the accent if you are in the UK or America. Yeah. But yeah. I don't think I can fit in if I'm in Australia, kan? Because Aussie accent is but much different dia punya
lingkup dia.
Kan.
Well, not really accent susah nak tiru. I would say pronunciation. British pronunciation. Accent susah nak ikut. Pengsan nanti. Yes, come on. Jangan malu-malu, jangan segan. If you feel,
you can directly unmute yourself as well if you want to.
And you can DM me. Bukannya type at the group chat, but personal chat. Of course, I won't reveal your name. You can do that also using Zoom.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
1 or 2 questions.
Kalau segan juga boleh PM Dr. Lilis and then Dr. Lilis will read the question. Maybe Dr. Lilis know your personal problem, but I do not know, then boleh DM Dr. Lilis. Yeah, what do you think? If not, I have to ask you my question then.
I think I welcome 1 or 2 questions from the floor. Yes. Any?
Kalau tak, saya tanya question. Saya tanya dekat chat box. Question number 1. How do I help a colleague who's struggling? Sila jawab. Kalau tak cukup, saya bagi lagi soalan. Mana lagi?
How do you help a colleague who's struggling? Since you know a little bit now about mental illnesses.
Question number 2. How can I convince my boss mental health matters? Okay, silakan jawab. Kalau tak, Dr. Liz tanya bila dalam kelas nanti. Sila jawab. Segan sangat nak tanya masa Zoom. Tak ada? Kalau tak ada, it's okay. Doesn't matter.
Maybe because this show, I mean, anybody can just unmute yourself as I'm speaking to Dr. Alizi, because time is very precious to me lah. But Dr. Alizi, I think the reason why this becomes a difficult topic to question is because it is actually quite blurry topic. Understanding it is still poor among us. So even though it is commonly reported, then I don't think we really understand it. Okay, and I think I understood mental illness for being in a different country where they have acknowledged mental illnesses. I can relate. So and you don't have and you don't judge. But I have myself a colleague who has anxiety, and being a man, a grown man in a position doesn't help as well. For having anxiety, dia kata, and the directors of the company, actually, because I'm an outsider in that company, but I worked with the directors for at least 3 years before this person came into the team, right? And when he came in, he was actually invited to join the team that we had. But I think it was a bad decision made by the manager, because our work was like very pressured, stressful, and then we need people to be flexible, highly flexible, you see? Because we deal with a lot of programs, so sometimes things goes the right way, sometimes it doesn't, so everybody needs. But this, highly anxious person cannot be placed in that kind of situation. So I didn't know, but when he came in, actually somebody mentioned it to me, and then the director start asking me, can we believe this person? So I said,
no.
yes. So fortunately, I think they're asking the right person. You understand if it's
an honest question, but it can be hurtful kalau ada orang
correct.
yang
So I asked the directors again, do you have a doctor's, a doctor's prescription ataupun diagnose kan of his condition? They said yes. So I said, then you have to believe, the doctor's diagnose, and then and we need to learn how to accommodate, since he's already in the company for many years. Do you know that the previous manager is also actually a foreigner that could actually accommodate him excellently, I believe. So an old director that lead his previous department. So the what happened, I think he stayed in the team for only 2 years. I left already the team. I was not working there anymore. But then he left after 2 years being in the team, totally left the company because I think he felt so bad for not performing, I think, which actually not his total fault, because we have to give him the right kind of role and instruction, right?
If the factors is the organization, I hope he will perform at the other organization, at his new work.
My understanding is he did not work with any other organization, because this is the thing in Malaysia. I do not know. I believe as an HR person, I mingle a lot with industry from HR. I think because we are lacking in awareness of mental illness and how to deal with it, and we still consider them as a poor, a weakness of a person, then accommodating them becomes
Unfortunately.
an extra load. I mean,
Yeah.
on the perspective of a person, but
Yeah.
actually it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
Because everybody has different level of comprehension.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the same.
Uh-huh.
Kan? You
So,
just need, and you just need to know how to instruct.
yeah.
Kan? So
So
I'm fortunate to
what
know
you're
a
saying,
lot.
eh? What you're
Uh,
saying is more cultural because it seems that
yes, yes.
foreign managers is different from local managers,
Because
difficulties.
they're more informed. They're more well informed.
Yes, yes.
The
So,
the the director that I mentioned, that could handle him
mhm.
beautifully was a Japanese,
I
very
see.
old director.
I see, huh?
So I believe that he understand. And do you know that when he was actually when he decided to join our team, the
Mm-hmm.
director actually went to the younger manager to actually properly pass him over, and
Uh-huh.
actually in front of me, because that happened in front of me, and the director said, please take care of him.
Oh, that's
Then
good.
I did not understand, the
Oh,
so I think he was trying to tell the
yeah,
younger
yeah, yeah.
manager that
Oh,
you need because he worked excellently in that department for many years.
mm.
So I'm not in a position to
Yes, yes.
medal.
Yes.
So I was just observed. But it was very unfortunate to
Yes.
me because he I think he was a very good executive, if you know how to give him
Yeah.
the proper role.
Uh,
So anyway, I see there's
I
a
thought
few
there's a
response.
poster behind. I thought it's a poster behind you. I saw a motorcycle moving. So I thought it's a poster. Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, I am. I was
kat,
trying to move
kat kantin
myself
kat
to
cafe.
the. Okay, there's
Okay.
one
Yeah,
or
yeah,
two
okay.
response,
Okay,
doctor.
let me read the answer. But by the way, very inspiring stories, and I hope students of Dr. Lilis are inspired by that story. Please become the caring, empathetic managers, not the stigmatic manager. Okay. Okay, let's see. Noor Shazlin, have a talk, honest about the matter, and take a leave. That's right. Thank you. And then Noor Shazlin, listen without judgment. I like this answer very much. Kylie, be a good listener and give rational suggestions. That's very good. Listen first and then suggestion. And if possible, don't use the word rational because sometimes you are
I
inclined
was
to give.
about I was about to ask that as well.
Kan? Kalau boleh jangan kata rational tu jangan. Just focus on the listening first. Kalau suggestion pun practical, bukan rational practical yang doable. Bukannya positive thinking lah. It's rational, right? But it's not healthy. And then Kylie answered question number 2. Convince the boss that mental health matters might influence the employee's performance and indirectly influence the sales profit, which every boss looks is important. That's very good. Use the weaknesses of the boss. Sir, if you don't use this, nanti sales turun,
Oh,
nanti profit
that's the
turun.
weaknesses of the boss, is it? I never
No,
thought.
we need to, not the boss lah. The organization kan wants, especially
Yes,
profit
correct,
oriented.
correct, correct.
Not government agency lah. Government agency dia tak boleh.
Betul, betul,
Profit
betul, betul,
oriented,
betul.
profit oriented.
Correct.
Kalau boleh
Kylie
tunjuk
is from
data.
the industry.
For the industry. That's very good.
Uh,
And then when Ling Ji, answer number 2, I want data to tell bosses how much damage mental illness causes to employees, such as the number of people with mental illness in the past 5 years and the consequences of the illnesses as reported by the government. I want data ni, I refer to what? Refer to employee or bosses? Not sure about that. I want to, yeah, okay, yeah. So you have to find the data. Yeah. Find the data and then show it to your boss. Understood. Very good. Say that at least your students are well taught by you and they understand
no, I
my
think this
point.
topic is very important.
Very important. I think it takes time
And
to warm up, isn't it?
yes.
It takes time to
No,
understand.
actually today is a little bit different.
Ah.
So we have a few speakers already
Oh,
on
okay.
different topic, but different topic.
Different
Last
topic.
week was because I was away as well last week. So
Ah.
we had a speaker from China on
Okay.
occupational safety and health in China.
Wow, that's good.
Uh,
Hopefully you're not emotionally burnt out lah by the time my session when
no, no, no. Once a week only.
once a
And
week. Okay, good.
yeah,
Once a
once a
week.
week.
Okay.
And okay. So over to you,
Okay.
back.
Thank you. So maybe just one or two or three students, can you share what have you learned today? So that Dr. Liz can well measure qualitatively whether we have achieved the objectives of the webinar today. Please share. Just one sentence. Buat yang catchy-catchy, macam kosmetik punya tagline. Kerana dirimu begitu berharga, something like that. If you can share. Yep, learning points. Even spontaneous is fine. Sometimes the one which is spontaneous is the one that the learning point that really capture your heart. Not your rationality, not your akal, your heart, your hati.
Okay, while they are figuring it out, I think Kylie have one question. But
okay, boleh ke?
Yes, proceed. If
Okay,
it's up to you, while the rest type their learning point.
Berapa lama masa kecederaan? Sebab kita dah habis kecederaan. 2 minit boleh ya? 2 minit. We are at 10:03 right now. Okay, Kylie, thank you. How can top management prevent stigma from other employees, as maybe someone will talking nonsense, such as he's crazy, he's emotional, and I think maybe this will cause the situation worse. That's good because the boss is mental health friendly, but not the subordinate. That is already a good one hurdle passed by any worker living with mental illness. So what can management do? First, create a seasonal campaign like mental health day, mental health month, mental health week, and invite professionals from outside and do some campaign, and then mental health culture, where the boss praises any mental health friendly remarks and not punish lah, macam tegur, mental health unfriendly remarks, right? If the boss is serious, you can even put it as an extra mark in the performance evaluation form. Maybe put it under supportive middle manager. Then example is no stigma, for example, supportive, good listener. Then I think the company will become mental health friendly. Of course, I wrote it a lot in my 2 or 3 of my books about how bosses can create mental health friendly environment. Okay, so ada lagi, kalau tak ada, saya nak bagi saya punya learning point. Mental illness is not a myth, but ignoring it is a myth. Ignoring it is a myth. So I hope that is short enough, sweet enough for you to remember what you have learned today. Okay, sempena Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur dengan izin Dr. Lilis. These are my 6 book. Number 1 is Jangan Ganggu Lepas Waktu Kerja Boleh, written with a young lawyer. So 2 perspective, legal and psychological perspective. It's about burnout, work-life balance. There are 4 terms related to work-life balance. You can learn all 4 of them. It's about boundaries, how to set boundaries, and also psychological safety. Next is Bounce Back Better. It's about resilience. Although there are a lot of Quranic stories and Hadith stories, but I know 1 or 2 non-Muslim who read it and appreciate it. Siap minta saya sign dan ambil gambar lagi, and she had read the whole book. She had read the whole book. So because like I said, stories is for all people to learn regardless of race and religion. Number 3, penat is about languishing. This is penat mental, not penyakit mental. But pesakit mental boleh manfaatkan aktiviti meningkatkan penat mental so that they have mental health. They still have mental illness, but they have mental health. Some of us doesn't have mental illness, but also do not have mental health, right? So this is the bestseller. Healing the Invisible Wound, also about Quran and Hadith, about healing. We differentiate between normal sadness and depression, normal anxiety and anxiety disorder, normal trauma and PTSD. It is written by me and 2 psychiatrists. Same author with Bounce Back Better. Yeah? And it's not in English, it's in Bahasa Melayu. Aku Dijangkiti Kehidupan 3.0 is an anecdote of mental illness authors, doctors who treated them. And there's one yang lain sikit, saya, organization psychologist, wrote about, bolehkah pesakit mental cemerlang di tempat kerja? Jawapannya boleh, but it needs primary intervention, secondary intervention, and tertiary intervention by the organization. And finally, memelihara jiwa, petua daripada Tabib Kurun ke-9. This is about a Muslim knows Al-Ghazali, right? Even non-Muslim know Avicenna or Ibn Sina, Ar-Razes or Ar-Razi, but this is a not seldom mentioned name, Al-Balkhi. He actually wrote in 9th century about mental health and mental illness, which is very similar, ahead of his time, with contemporary scientific mental health issues and mental illness issues. Okay, differentiating between mental health problems and mental illness. So I think I buat bedah buku baru-baru ni 2-3 minggu lepas, ada 5,000 tontonan first session, and the second session 2,000 lebih tontonan. So people are now trying to go back to the root and try to relate biopsychosocial approach to spiritual approach. Sebab setengah ustaz dia fokus spiritual approach je kan, jampi lah, baca Quran je lah, but my approach is biopsychosocial spiritual approach, and that is also the approach of our early Muslim scholars during the golden era of Islam. That's it. May you flourish. Kalau selalu kalau Star Wars, may the force be with you kan. May the flourish be with you biologically, psychologically, socially, and spiritually from your psychological Jedi master, Dr. Alizi Alias. If you want to follow me to the psychological force or biopsychosocial spiritual force, feel free to subscribe my Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok. Bak kata seorang rappers, kalau sudi boleh like, tak sudi boleh swipe. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good mid-morning. Thank you so much. Back to Dr. Lily. Silakan.
Okay, that's, I think, yeah, we're a bit slow this morning. Most probably, Dr. Alizi, because of your English rounded accent, making them, I speak local Penang English. So that's new, but that's a good exposure. Yeah. Anything new is a learning opportunity for anyone. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the introduction to all what you have been doing, you are doing, and you're still doing. I really am jealous and envy, okay, of the books that you have produced. And my children are buying it one at a time because everybody, my children wants to own their own copy, okay?
Oh,
so they are investing their money. Yes, they do. So I let them, and I hope that I can eventually write like you do, okay?
Inshallah.
Inshallah, Amin. So thank you so much for your time. I will not keep you any longer, and I know that the student appreciate the information that you shared today. More than 1 hour. A round of applause to Dr. Alizi
virtual
session.
clap. Saya tak kerti nak buat virtual clap macam mana.
Ya Allah, react.
React, okay, react.
And then you see option. Budak ni ngada je. Alright. So I'm sure, I know that this week is their midterm week, for your information. So I think we attribute the inactivity to that. They must have slept very late last night because it's a midterm. Yeah, this is a midterm weeks. This past 2 weeks.
All the best.
Yes.
Bounce back better, I will always say.
And that's why we're recording the session and shared with the student. Thank you so much. Have a safe and good day ahead of the week. Yeah. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.